Hello everyone and welcome to Charan's programming channel. You're in the first course of my channel. In this course you will be learning how to code Python. So what is Python? Python is a high level programming language. It is general purpose programming language. It is user friendly. It is basically used to develop web applications, desktop apps and mobile apps. So let's start the coding Python. So now we are in Google Chrome. Before we start coding Python, first we need to install Python in our device. So for installing Python in your device, you need to go to www.python.org, download. So now you need to go to download python.org. And now you need to click download Python 3.9.5 as it is the latest version. You can download the latest version. If you are on Windows, you can click Windows. If you are on Linux or Unix, you can click Linux here. And if you are on Mac, you can click on Mac OS X. So now let's install an editor for Python. So an editor will help us to edit the code we will run and also help us write the code efficiently. So in my case I will be using Visual Studio Code. You can also use PyCharm, which is a good editor for Python, or Eclipse, or Atom, or Notepad++. So now let's start about installing Visual Studio Code. So let's go to Visual Studio Code. So and let's click download Visual Studio Code Mac, Linux and Windows. So if you are on Windows, you can click on this button under the Windows icon. If you are on Linux, you can prefer any of these two buttons based on your OS under the Linux icon. And if you are on a Mac, you can click on this button under the Apple icon. So now as you can see, we are in Visual Studio Code. So here we can edit our Python code, or you can type the Python code here. So before starting coding Python, we need to create a file. So for creating a file, you can click on this button, new file, and let's just name it as main.py and click enter. So now we have created a file main.py. So remember that py.py is the extension for Python file. So let's first discuss about variables. So what are variables? Variables are nothing but the containers. They are like containers or boxes that can store values or data types. So so most of you might not be familiar with the term data type. So what is a data type? There are 7 types of data types in Python. They are strings, integers, floats, lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. So let's first talk about strings, integers, and floats and lists, and the large 4 of them in the later part of our course. So let's give it a name. So let's give a variable a name v1 and give it a value of string as hello world. And v2 at the value 2 and v3 to the value 2.3. So here v1 contains a string, because a string is a word or a sentence or a text which are defined. So hello world is a word, a sentence, so defined sentence, so it is string. And integers are similar to the mathematical integers positive. There may be a positive integer 0 or a negative integer. So 2 is an integer as it is a positive integer. And float, 2.3 is a float, as floats are nothing but decimal numbers and 2.3 is a decimal number. So we can say that 2.3 is a float in Python. So now we have learned about strings, integers, and floats. In the later parts of our course, we'll be learning about string formatting. So next we can type. So now we can learn more about variables. So a variable name can be of any type. You can define it of your own choice. But remember that variable number should not start with a number. Variable name should not start with a number, such as 1, hello. It's not a variable. And the variable should not have spaces between them, such as hello world, because it's not a variable, as it shouldn't have a space between them. So you can use, if you want to give a space to a variable, you can use the underscore to give a word, so it doesn't show any error to us. And variable name should not contain any fancy characters such as hello @ good morning, hello @ good morning, good morning, good morning. So it is wrong. So another important part about variables is that if you want to change the value of a variable, you can change it by retapping the name of the variable and defining the value. So say v1 is equals to 4, and if you want to change it to another integer such as v1 equals to 5, so the value in v1 has changed from 4 to 5. So if you want to display the value 4, you can use the print keyword, print v1. So v1 displays the value 4. So let's just run it. So it has displayed 4. So you might get a doubt that we have changed the value of v1 from 4 to 5, but why is it still showing 4? Because when Python is executing the code, v1 is defined as 4, and we are asking to print v1 where the value is 4, and Python has printed 4, and then we have changed the value of v1 to 5. That's why, and there's no other print keyword. But if you type another print keyword of v1 for v1, save it and just run it by Control F and 5. So you can see that 4 and 5 are printed out. So you can say that they have changed from v1 has changed from 4 to 5. So now let's see about addition of variables. So let's see if you want to add two variables. So let's say A is a variable that contains a value 2, and B contains the value 3 and you want to add them, so we can simply say that C equals to A plus B and click and print C. So click on run. So it printed 5 as 2 plus 3 is 5. So now instead of putting the sum of A plus B in another variable, you can put this in the print statement itself, such as, and remove this. And put A plus B over here. A plus B over here. So let's save it and run it. It will give 5. So see, it has given us the value 5. So that's it for this video. I'll meet you in the next video.